Just about 48 hours away from the NFL draft, and this is our last show before we actually get to the first round. Got a lot to get to. Adam Jahns is going to join us from Hallis Hall. Jeff King was officially introduced as the assistant general manager today. We heard from TJ Edwards, Colston Loveland. This is a loaded show. Oh, and Fran Duffy joins one last time before the draft as well. CHGO Bears podcast starts right now. This is the CHGO Bears podcast, and our draft coverage is presented by the Fanatics app. Rep your team's newest picks and cash in on your fandom. We are also presented by the Illinois Department of Transportation. If you feel different, you drive different, drive sober, or get pulled over, it's not a game, and that's what we all plan to do and hope you do as well. If you're coming out to our draft party Thursday and Friday night, we'll give you more details on that if you still need them. But Carm, it's a great day to talk about Bears football.
It is. Shout out Fanatics. Shout out IDOT. Love the support we're getting in draft week. Can't wait to see everybody at Joe's on Weed Street. And it was a busy day. Brian Piccolo Award, TJ Edwards, the three-peat, Colston Loveland. Very mature Colston Loveland's getting his award today. Wow, the Bears got a good one in their now second-year tight end. And, I'm excited for Who's Your Guy coming up here, Hogue. Big day for us on the show.
Well, right now our guy is Adam Jahns. He is standing by at Hallis Hall, ready to go. He's rested. He's feeling better. He got every disease possible on his Disney cruise, but he's better now. You got to get better before the draft, and he bounced back. He's ready to go.
Well, I don't want to go too far behind the scenes here because it's a little personal and people probably don't care all that much, but Jahns' walk into Hallis Hall today, the presence that he brought going through security. I mean, I've seen Dan Wiederer do it. I've seen Brad Biggs do it. I mean, I've seen a lot of people do that walk. I haven't seen anybody come in with the presence that Jahns did today after missing yesterday. It all felt right in the world that walk in today. So Jahns, I just thank you. I thought you set the tone well today.
Well, fellas, it's good to be missed. It's good to feel wanted, and it's good to, when you're not there, that people are talking about you.
Well, Kevin Fishman didn't stop talking about you yesterday. He asked about 5 times where you were. So that happened.
That's true. All right, Jahns, we got a lot to get to, and we're going to get to our kind of our final thoughts on the draft. Sort of final thoughts. You and I have a Hogan Jahns to do tomorrow as well, but we are going to kind of pick our guy that we've narrowed in on individually for this draft before we get done here in this segment. But let's start with the reaction to Jeff King, who's been here for a while. This is kind of an interesting situation because Jeff King's been part of this organization for quite a long time, actually. But he has climbed up through the ranks in multiple regimes and is officially now the assistant general manager after Ian Cunningham moved on to Atlanta. And this was the first time he did an official press conference at Hallis Hall. So we'll just kind of more generally start, Jahns, just your initial reaction. You've known Jeff for a while, but just essentially his introductory press conference to Bears fans.
So from my vantage point in the press conference room, my reaction was watching Ryan Poles' reactions to Jeff King giving his non-answers to questions about the draft. Like at some point, Ryan Poles was cracking up. He was laughing pretty good about some of the answers that Jeff King was providing the media as he answered questions while not answering the actual questions, which happens now a couple days away from the draft.
Yeah, I liked multiple attempts from even Larry Mayer, ChicagoBears.com, trying to get in there. And how many players with the Bears box do you got? And he was not taking the bait.
2 attempts at that. No, he was inviting. I think maybe some of the most revealing things came about a conversation or a question about center and just how few of them there are in the actual draft. I think we'll get to that in a little bit. But yes, Jeff King, quite a story, former tight end. with the Panthers, and he's really risen through the ranks of the Chicago Bears, going from intern to assistant general manager in 12 years.
Yeah, I came out of the Jeff King press conference today very impressed with Jeff King. He's tall, so he's got a presence there with the size. Number one, I like tall people as my assistant GMs because they look like they know what they're doing. I thought he,
Sense
had
of humor.
Yeah, right. Sense of humor. There was a person up there. I enjoyed the fact that I felt like I was actually talking to a human being. They would throw that in there as well. And to me, he seemed like he knew what he was talking about. Had a good perspective. So I kept on thinking about for the old hats out there. In Game 6 of the 1992 NBA Finals, Stacey King had a huge game, and the headline the next day was "King for a Day." And then I'm thinking to myself, this guy could be king for more than a day. He could be, he could be king for a while. King for a dynasty, king for a playoff sustainable run year after year. Let's go, King.
Hey, Jahns, you wrote a story on him a couple years ago. Can you just give people a background on just that might not know his story and just like kind of his rise up through the ranks?
Well, the first thing I think about when you reference that story is my lead, and it's a great anecdote from Brandon Beane, the GM of the Buffalo Bills, who I had a conversation with. And it's about Jeff King literally pooping his pants in a football game that he played. It's up on The Athletic. I'm sure you can still find it, but he's a man of character with character, if that makes sense. Just everyone loves Jeff King. When I reached out to teams to talk about him or just to ask questions about him, immediate responses from like higher ups in multiple organizations willing to talk about Jeff King and their experiences with him as a player, their experiences with him just at different steps along his career. So that's what stands out to me was the anecdote off the top, but the willingness from multiple GMs and just others around the league to talk about Jeff King and his story, like that stands out to me.
So he talked today about competitive players. The Bears want competitors, which, of course, the other 31 teams in the NFL also want competitors, and they want guys who run to the football, and they want guys who come from great backgrounds and can play fast and everything else. So, but the Bears keep underlining this. Did you have any, reaction to that, Johnsy, as far as the Bears' philosophy, the way he was underlining it?
So the funny thing is, one of the first things I did was go to The Beast by Dane Brugler, put the word competitive in, see how many times it came up, and it came up a lot. So yes, this is a common theme. Teams look for this personality trait, but I also thought of Kayden Proctor, like the big offensive tackle who's an outlier because of his size. And you heard the Tices talk about him on their podcast, how you expect more out of a man that size, even though he's young and learning on the job. He's a up and coming prospect, but you want to see players like that be imposing. You want to see players like that assert their will on smaller opponents. And to me, that's a sign of competitiveness. Like, does he go all out every single play? Does he finish every single snap? So to hear Jeff King basically highlight that the film doesn't lie to you. You look for things like that. You look for that competitiveness. You look for players that take plays off, and you notice players that don't take plays off. You notice players who are going at 100 miles per hour if they're a pass rusher all the time. You look for players when the ball is down the field, to go back to the old hits philosophy, like who's chasing it down and who's providing extra energy nonstop to their team. So those are the things that I thought of when Jeff King brought up that multiple times during his pre-draft press conference today.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually have my offensive tackle notes here right in front of me because I'm going to be talking about one here in a second. But with Kayden Proctor, as you mentioned, I have right here in the third line, inconsistent play and technique. He relies on his sheer size too much. Just kind of banking on what he are, his physical gifts instead of, the mental tenacity. And I know that's one of the concerns some teams have on a guy who I guess it's potentially on the table could fall somewhere into a range for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and then I thought about like the safeties. The Bears are doing a lot of work on this safety class. Who are the willing, eager tacklers? That's a sign of competitiveness too. Like, are they willing to throw their bodies into traffic and do all the dirty work that's needed and required of NFL caliber safeties? And here are the Bears with a big gaping hole in the secondary at safety, looking at some of the top safeties in this year's draft.
Jahns, I thought the center conversation with Jeff King was very interesting. As Carm takes a sip out of the most giant water bottle I've ever seen.
Stay hydrated.
Lose, be a good sport, Ho. Brought to you by Camp Nebagamon. Thank you very much.
You're getting your hydration in. That's good. That's good.
I'm trying to avoid a cough meltdown.
And now he's coughing.
So thank you.
Look, you have premium positions and non-premium positions. Center to me has always been one that I feel like I found myself like probably valuing more than others at times, even though it's not technically considered a premium position. But I just think it's so important. The guy who has the quarterback's hands under his ass all the time.
There you go.
But there's also this issue of supply and demand, which I also feel like impacts how important positions can be. And I just thought it was super interesting what Jeff King had to say about just like sort of the lack of centers, A, that are even good enough to be drafted, and B, like they don't seem to be developed like they used to be in college.
You can't help but think the Bears will, like, if there's one need, it's not safety, it's not cornerback, it's not pass rusher. If like there's one area of concern on their roster, one need, like it's got to be center that moves up just because of what Jeff King said today. And the Bears don't want to do that. That's why I think the move for Garrett Bradbury is so brilliant. I know I've praised it probably too much at this point, but I still think it's a great move because of this issue we're talking about right now. It's tough to find centers in the draft. There's just not that many of them. So to move to Garrett Bradbury like the Bears did, I think it's a great move. I'll stand by those words. But if they want to draft the center this year, I can't help but think they're going to try to strike early in those top, 3-4 rounds. No later. You can't wait past the 4th round. Try to move around the draft to find a center.
Plus, if you had paired a rookie center with Caleb, I think that would, if I was Ben Johnson, that would give me a significant amount of anxiety wondering how that was going to go.
Absolutely.
That's obviously a big factor in what the Bears did too. Can we go back to the safety though real quick? Because I thought it was interesting. King mentioned, what does Kobe Bryant allow you to do back there? And he's like, well, we basically just said, he's very flexible. We could put anyone back there. And we just want to bring in somebody that can add to the competition of any, he mentioned Elijah Hicks, he mentioned Cam Lewis. So I don't know. Did you think he was being coy at that point about, that it's a priority or not a priority? The way he's talked about it was almost like maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Yes. I don't think he was being coy about the center conundrum, but I think he was being very coy about the safety predicament, call it that. Everybody knows the Bears need another starting caliber safety. Cam Lewis is a fine player, could do a lot of different things for you in your secondary. Elijah Hicks, he's great on special teams. He brings some veteran experience back there, but you can do better than that. And that's why the draft is here. And it's a good year for safeties. You have to strike at some point. I think the Bears want to in the first couple rounds. Now, it's just a matter of how the selections come off the board, because I would imagine the Bears would have a couple safeties high on their board come pick 25 if everything kind of shakes out the way they hope it will in round 1.
Well, mock drafts right now seem to think that at bare minimum, shout out Gregory P.L. and Braggs, EMW is going to be there. He seems to be mocked mostly in the 2nd round right now at bare minimum.
Well, let's get into that. As we introduce a new segment that we're going to be doing throughout the week, sponsored by IDOT. It is On the Clock, and we're gonna put the 3 of us on the clock right now. If you feel different, you drive different, it's not a game. If you're coming out to the draft party or celebrating the draft in any way this weekend, make sure you have a designated driver for that. If you will be drinking, again, it is not a game. So we're gonna go through kind of around the horn here and focus on who's your guy. Now, the idea of this is not necessarily, and Jahns and I will have another mock draft coming out tomorrow, actually, where it'll probably be zeroed in a little bit more on who we think will be available. But this is more of the idea, like your dream pick, like the guy that you just, whether you think he's going to be there or not, you'd love to see. You just feel like he's a good pick for the Bears, good fit, whatever. So Jahns, we'll go to you first.
Well, I try not to be too dreamy about it, and I left the top 3 or 4 pass rushers out of this conversation a little bit. But my pick is safety Dillon Thieneman from Oregon. I think he would be an absolute day 1 difference maker for the Chicago Bears. He's your starter next to Kobe Bryant. They're interchangeable. the versatility that he provides this defense would be immense. He's got range. He's got athleticism. He's young. Maybe it was the conversation I had with Anthony Herron on Hogan Jahns not too long ago that really sold me on Thieneman as a player. But this could be a superstar in the making that could be there late in the first round. If he's there, I think the Bears take him at number 25. The difference between him and McNeil Warren is, to me, it's the projection. There's less of it with Thieneman because he played tougher competition at Purdue and then later at Oregon and became one of the best safeties in the whole country. McNeil Warren's from Toledo. So all the measurables are there. Some of the difference-making personality traits are there, but at the same time, I think they're also there for Thieneman.
Yeah, listen, if Thieneman falls to them at 25, that would be, you'd have a hard time saying the Bears are doing anything wrong but taking him. But I'm going to assume that A, he's not there, and B, even if he is, although that would be a little bit, I'd be conflicted. But listen, the Bears need help in the middle of the defensive line, and Kayden McDonald is the best guy going. 65 tackles last year, 9 for loss, forced a couple fumbles, had a fumble recovery. This is, you're talking about the Big Ten Award for the nation's top defensive lineman last year. This is a huge need. He's going to be there most likely. And by the way, Hogue, just for you, because you love, you're a big gadget guy. He did play some fullback, and if you go all the way back to high school, 11 rushing touchdowns. You could put that big guy in the backfield. He can rumble it right in for you. Ben Johnson's got to like that about him. That's obviously not why you're going to draft him, but I am drafting more for need here, and so Kayden McDonald, come on down. Bears need a defensive tackle. You're the best guy going. I don't care that I do care. I'd rather he got to the quarterback more, but the fact that he's a huge run stuffer, I'll take it.
Well, not to raise you, but if you are going to go down the defensive tackle route and who's got more offensive carries, you went back to high school for Kayden McDonald?
Well, he had some at Ohio State.
Just so you're aware, Peter Woods of Clemson, 15 offensive snaps there, 8 carries, 15 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So if Ben Johnson's looking for a little offense out of these defensive players, don't sleep on Peter Woods.
That's a good underlining for Woods, but the production is a little bit down from the Kayden production.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, my guy and Johnsy, I'm gonna jump on our friend Nate Tice's bandwagon on this guy because when he pointed Monroe Freeling out as his offensive lineman 1, his top offensive lineman in the draft, definitely got my attention. And then I kind of figured out why, because he is somewhat of a late riser in the sense that he's only been a starter for a year and a half. And honestly, it really wasn't until the second half of this season that he finally really started to put it together and look like a first round pick. We're talking about a guy who's 6'7", 317, played left tackle. A lot of these guys in the draft have been like right tackle only and might need to slide inside the guard. To me, look at Monroe Freeling. He has long arms, huge hands. He has the biggest hands of anybody. All the top 20 offensive tackles in this draft that matters. Awesome quickness. He moves very smoothly. Some questions about his strength, but I thought that was something that got better as the year went along, and he's playing in the SEC against, big time opponents as well. Plenty of guys that'll be going to the NFL. So this is the only guy that I have labeled in what is, I generally agree with, kind of a weaker draft class overall. There's only been one player, Jahns, that I've done notes on, because I have yes or no kind of grades on these guys in the first round. A lot of them have said yes, but I prefer to trade back. This is the only guy where I have written down yes, maybe trade up for him too. That's how good I think Monroe Freeling can be. So if he's somehow available to the Bears, I think it just solves the Bears left tackle issue right away.
I don't think they're going to trade up, though.
I don't either. And I'm not necessarily saying they should, because I think they could sit back and one of these defensive tackles or maybe one of the safeties will be there and you don't give up future draft capital and all that. But I'm just saying this is the one guy I think I'm willing to go up and go get if he's somewhere around 20. And there's been a lot of reporting lately in the last few days about there being an offensive tackle run in the range of picks in the 20s around where the Bears are.
That is, I've seen the same reports that they could go, a lot of them could go awful quick. I thought you did a great job with that, Hogue, because you led with the Nate Tice. And I think most people that remember Nate, at least from this show, they remember him pounding the table for Drake May. And that looks pretty good. So
Drake May and Colston Loveland.
And Loveland.
Well,
that's right.
You know who Mike Tice is, because they did the podcast we've plugged a couple times. Do you know who Mike Tice's comp was for Monroe Freeling?
Jimbo Covert?
No, but that's great. We're going to hear from Jimbo tomorrow.
Good lead come.
Joe Thomas.
Had a pretty good career there.
I'll take a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
In the first round. All right. Jahns, any final thoughts before we let you get back to work over there at Hallis?
No, we'll just read our final mock draft. Mock draft 4.0 from Hogan Jahns and ALLCHGO.com tomorrow morning.
Yep. Got to be a diehard to get that. Sign up right now. Use code Jahns, Jahns. I mean, really, if you haven't signed up already, now's the time, because you get Fran's entire draft guide as well as all of our draft content throughout the weekend. While we have you covered at the draft party, Jahns and Pat Norton will be hard at work at Hallis Hall throughout the weekend too. And we'll hear from those guys throughout the weekend with all of our shows. Thanks, Johnsy.
See you, boys.
All right. Adam Jahns over at Hallis Hall. Again, we will also have a Hogan Jahns episode tomorrow for you as well. Live at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. tomorrow, not 10.
It's called you get up, you have a cup of coffee, you set up your day, and then you turn on these two cuties, and nothing, you don't think about anything else for the next hour. You just enjoy a little football convo.
So set your alarm, Steven. You got to wake up a little bit earlier tomorrow.
Steven was overly ready today. I mean, we were supposed to talk at 9:15. Steven's asking where we were. He thought it was 9. Just the way that the focus of Steven Nicholas on draft week has been noticeable.
All right. We love Steven. He's doing a great job. And thanks again to Greg Braggs for helping out. You're going to hear from Braggs later on in the show, because he talked to Fran Duffy this morning, which was why he wanted us on earlier, because they had that scheduled at the same time. Everybody's working hard behind the scenes. We're going to hear from some of the stuff we heard about Jeff King talking about. We're going to bring that to you here in the next segment. We're going to hear from Jeff King, give you an opportunity to hear from him. Fans haven't really heard from Jeff King before. This is your opportunity to get to know the Bears' new assistant general manager a little bit. That is coming up next, but first.
Hey, shout out to our friends at Bet365, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. You stay up last night? You watch?
I didn't make it all the way to the end of the last game.
Okay.
There was a lot going on.
I saw none, but tonight when I watch all of it, it'll be great to have some extra action on Bet365. And yes, luckily, Bet365 is here to help you. The early payout offer, it goes into the playoffs. If your team you're riding goes up by 10 points, they'll call it, sell your bet, pay you out early right there and then on the spot. That can't help you be a more patient fan, by the way. If you got some, we don't have a lot of skins in the game right now, but if you somehow do, like whatever, you're rooting for the Lakers, look in the mirror on that. But hey, the early payout offer will pay you out, and you don't even have to stress the rest of the way. Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the app, use the code CHGO365. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and older, must be physically located in Illinois. In-app only.
And speaking of money, how much time are you spending each month trying to manage your finances? Either you're doing it, you're probably spending way too much time, or you're ignoring it too much. That's where Rocket Money will come in and help you. They're going to help get your finances organized and under control. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I remember thinking, like, maybe 5-10 years ago, I'm like, I'm never going to be the person that can't keep track of my subscriptions. And then they just like kind of suck you into something you don't even remember.
I love when I pay for some cloud that I have no idea what it does when I use it, or
the cloud.
I need it. The cloud.
Yeah. Well,
$3 a month.
Get Rocket Money, okay? It's going to automatically categorize transactions across accounts, let you create custom categories to help reveal your spending patterns. So let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/CHGO. That's rocketmoney.com/CHGO. Make sure you use that URL to help support the show. rocketmoney.com/CHGO. All right, it's time to take the Temp. Sponsored by Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's Four Seasons Heating Cooling We're taking the temp on the Bears' new assistant general manager, an opportunity to hear from him for the first time. Ryan Poles spoke briefly. It was just an opening statement and an introduction of Jeff King, who has taken over for Ian Cunningham. Of course, Jeff King, already part of the organization, just promoted into the position, but this was the first time he was doing a press conference at Halas Hall. We want you to hear from him. So here is part of his opening statement earlier at Halas Hall.
As we head into this weekend, we're prepared. We'll be adaptable. We'll make the best decisions for the team today and going forward. The goal by the end of the weekend is to add talent, competition, bring the right football players and the right character into the building. I'll leave you with this. We're after competitors. The best players and teams I've been around and been on compete daily, not just on Sundays in the fall. It takes more than talent just to win in this league in various conditions throughout the season. There's been a lot said about this draft. I think there's a lot of good football players in it, players that can help us and fit our culture.
So that was from the end of a pretty lengthy opening statement from Jeff King. And we're going to bring you some of the other stuff, some of the topics we talked about with Jahns earlier, specifically when it came to competitive players, some of the stuff with the center conversation on maybe the lack of centers overall. But this chunk from the press conference begins with the idea of adding those competitive players in the draft.
What does having Ben as your coach allow you to do perhaps in the draft that maybe you couldn't have done in the past?
They'll probably have to make sure he keeps his shirt on. No, I think he's got clear conviction. He's got clear vision of players. I think most really, really good coaches in this league have a vision for players. Offense, defense, special teams. They get the big picture of how to construct a roster. To my point to Dan earlier, like they know when to pivot. They know when to be maybe ahead of the curve, when they feel like they're behind the curve. And when you're building a roster, that helps because we can now anticipate and stay ahead of some roster decisions down the road. So it's his ability to adapt on the fly, both on Sunday, but now when we're going through the draft board.
Draft day, do you guys have a sense for whether it will be like that?
I think they say that now. And then you get on the clock and it's like, well, what do you want? Well, we're not doing that. We're going to stick and pick. Like, I think it's for you guys to write about now, and then, not to say there won't be, but it's just hard to say.
You mentioned the conviction that Ben has. How much of a say does he have in who you guys pick?
I mean, he, like all of us, we take his opinion and weigh it heavily. What he thinks matters. He's the head coach of the football team. He's an offensive play caller. He has a good feel for the team, and we take that very seriously.
What are the challenges when you to scout the center position?
What are the challenges?
Yeah.
There's not very many of them. I think that, the thing that you're starting to see now is guys staying in school longer, and this is really across all positions, but it really comes into play at center, I think. They're staying in school longer. There's less of them coming out in the draft.
All right, there's a portion of Jeff King's press conference today. A few things, just a little snippet. Any reaction?
I have a lot of reaction. One, I just like the fact that the way he underlines Ben, and how much do you consider Ben? He started out with, well, he's got an opinion like all of us, strongly. Ben's got a lot of conviction on players. Ben is the offensive play caller. Ben is the head coach of the football team. Ben. So, let's not mince words on the influence that Ben has on draft day, leading up to the draft, on every single day in the organization. So, look, in the competitor part of it, well, of course, but the way they're trying to go out and identify it is, it's also not unique to probably the other 31 teams in the league. But he's not just talking about on the play. He's looking at if you're literally lifting guys up off the turf, like how are you with your teammates? How are you engaged, not just on Sundays, but every day as far as making guys better. So there's a lot of research that goes into that, but there, as much as you can figure out about that, like what people are doing when the camera in theory is not watching you, to me, that's a good thing to focus on.
So my reaction as we take the temp on just kind of hearing from Jeff King for the first time, I find this like sort of be an awkward press conference every year. Like it's a tough spot to put these guys in. Like a few years ago, the NFL, I don't know if they made it a full requirement, but it was definitely strongly suggested that they start making the number 2 front office person available. I think it's supposed to be like twice a year, but at least once. And so it's been kind of this tradition that the pre-draft press conference the last few years has become the assistant GM press conference. Ian Cunningham did it the last couple of years. Now it's Jeff King. And it's a tough thing to put these guys in, especially when they haven't done it before, because they don't want to give away any secrets. It's hard to answer these questions. I used to say this was an awkward press conference when it was just the general manager doing it. Like when just Ryan Pace was up there by himself years ago trying to answer questions a few days before the draft. So, like, to me, it would be, and this isn't, I'm not trying to critique any of their decisions in doing this. I'm impressed in how they handle it is my point, because to me, it would be way easier to have, and they do this with some of the scouts during draft weekend, and I love it. If you put Jeff King out there next week to talk about the draft class and everything that they loved about these guys that they actually drafted, I think would be way easier. But this is actually pretty hard. So overall, I thought, he did a really nice job communicating. He obviously couldn't answer everything, deflected pretty well, had a couple jokes in there too to keep some humor and keep it light, but it's a tough spot to be in. And I thought he did a good job.
Yeah. Don't go up there for 25 minutes and talk to the very inquisitive Chicago media and don't tell them anything, which I thought I honestly did not notice. Poles laughing at him not answering questions that Jahns brought up, so that's kind of fun. I did slight left turn. I did notice Poles when he was watching Colston Loveland and TJ Edwards talk at the beginning of the Piccolo Award. He looked like a proud papa watching these guys. One free agent signing and one draft pick. He seemed like a really, really happy Ryan Poles watching his guys get celebrated in the way they were handling themselves. So, I mean, they're looking for more of those guys. Those are big time guys in the locker room and on the field.
Well, that's a good segue, because the next thing we're going to talk about is the Brian Piccolo Award. There's a veteran winner and a rookie winner every single year. TJ Edwards and Colston Loveland were the winners. This year was a third straight for TJ Edwards. This is a player voted award, so it has a little bit of an extra meaning behind it, I think, for the players that win it. So we're going to hear from both Colston Loveland and TJ Edwards coming up next. But first,
shout out to our friends at Fanatics, the Fanatics app, the all-in-one destination for every part of your sports fandom. You could add into Hogue Studio here, get your gear for your favorite teams, players. You could add some White Sox stuff back there. There you go.
Old Comiskey.
We got the latest drops. We got the exclusive releases. They've got the merch all in one place. And, when you check out their app, the Fanatics app, you can do more than shopping. You can hang out. You can play games. You can earn fan cash by doing that, which you can spend on jerseys and game tickets and collectibles and more. You can avoid your family, which sometimes is a good thing to do. It's all in one place, all built for fans like us. Download the Fanatics app. Start cashing in on your fandom. Get it today at allchgo.com/fanatics. App access is open to all 21 and older to play. No purchase necessary. U.S. only. Void where prohibited.
And Bears fans, we know you're getting hype for the draft. Hopefully you got some plans. You're going to have some fun. You're going to celebrate the Bears picks. Hopefully those plans include coming to our draft party Thursday and Friday night, presented by IDOT, Illinois Department of Transportation. They want you to know, though, that if you're coming to that party or any party, driving drunk or high is a flag on the play. you've been getting ready for the draft that night. Carm, fumble, ball,
Right.
get it. Grab a sober driver, call a ride share. In Illinois, about a third of deadly crashes involve an impaired driver. That is not a stat that you want to be a part of. And yeah, just like on the field, your decisions, Carm, they affect others, your friends, family, everyone on the road. And impaired driving, it can lead to fines, arrests, or even worse, the absolute worst, life-altering injuries or fatalities. See way too much of that out there. So make the right play, score a win, get home safe. If you feel different, you drive different. It's not a game. All right, so Brian Piccolo Award Day over at ALLCITY. It's my favorite day of the year, Carm, because we get to see our guy Ted Albrecht.
Yeah, Ted was big today. Former winner of the award, saved us 2 seats. I mean, the guy does phenomenal work alongside Dave Ennick, calling Northwestern football year after year after year. He's just a winner. Of course, former Bears offensive lineman, UCLA, the whole thing. Teddy's the man.
Good question from Carm Wanted Stroud in the chat. Carm, how are Jeff King's legs? This is a callback to yesterday's show. For some reason, you missed yesterday's show, which is on you.
Yeah,
Carm was already looking at Garrett Bradbury's legs yesterday. Forget the practice field. He couldn't wait for that. He needed to know on the podium what everything.
Well, you know, Carm Wanted Stroud he's big on the details, and don't mess with him because he will take you to court. Listen, Garrett Bradbury plays center. Jeff King is the assistant GM.
Well, he was a tight end.
That's true. Right. But those days are over. So as I said at the start of the show, he's tall, and tall people, they tend to have presence. You know, he was like a combination of an elite general manager, and I also thought he could like run a country club. Like he had that like level, like the type of guy that you walk in, he knows exactly where everything is, gets you situated. But I do, if we're going to be slightly serious for a second, I do think that Ryan Poles is in good hands, even with Ian out the door with along with this guy, Jeff King. They seem to really have a good chemistry, the two of them.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good situation for them to be in. And they've known for a while that Ian was probably going to be moving on. As far as the Brian Piccolo Award goes, just in case there's people out there that aren't unfamiliar, it is an annual honor that the Bears give out every year. Again, one veteran, one rookie, and they, so the players who best exemplify the courage, the loyalty, the teamwork, and dedication of the late Brian Piccolo. And it's to take you kind of inside the ceremony a little bit. It's hosted by Pat McCaskey, but it was Ben Johnson the last couple of years, usually the head coach that presents the award to the players that win it. So we got to hear a little bit from Ben today as well. And I, just to start with that before we hear from Loveland and TJ Edwards, again, 3rd straight year TJ Edwards has won this award. It's player voted, player driven. So has that meaning behind it. If there's any doubt about TJ Edwards' future with this team, I mean, there isn't this year, but maybe going forward, and he had the ankle injury and he needs to stay healthy, and all of that conversation about, and I would, didn't we do a segment last week about players that potentially have a lot to lose in the draft this week? Depending, if they go out and draft a Jacob Rodriguez, all of that conversation. I think what matters from today, from that ceremony, was Ben Johnson said that he does not have to worry anymore about showing examples to new players that come in the building. All he has to do is point at TJ Edwards and say, be like that guy. That was a very strong compliment, I thought, and shows you how much TJ Edwards is still valued by the coaching staff, especially considering that their exposure to TJ Edwards was a season in which he was plagued by injuries basically the entire time. So that definitely resonated with me sitting in that room today.
So it's interesting because I had a slightly contrarian take on it. Like last year, when at the Piccolo Award, Ben made a joke about the stumble bum and how they got TJ on the play. And when we talked to TJ about it afterwards, he was like, he wasn't sure if he was joking or if it was kind of like, oh, this guy
didn't seem to love it.
Yeah, like this guy might think I stink and he's the new head coach. That's not good for me. So, I mean, I think that Ben has clearly learned that TJ is a do it the right way kind of guy and the type of dude that you want to have in your locker room. But I also sort of heard the compliments that he was throwing his way. Just I'm gonna give you your flowers today, because I actually don't know what the future holds for you here, and I just want you to know whatever happens, you're appreciated. I was wondering if that was going on just a little bit. Who knows? He's got to prove that if he's back healthy and playing well, the Bears will want to have him around. But and that was the other. I mean, we'll get to TJ in a second here, but that was the other news. Like, he's not there yet, but he's hoping to be ready for opening day.
Well, Steven, if we can, let's reverse the order of this, and let's go to TJ first, since we're on that conversation and where he's at. Remember, he got hurt in that playoff game against the Packers. And you know, his stat, he looked good today. I mean, there's a big difference between being able to walk around in an award ceremony and playing football in the NFL. But with the offseason program starting today, he did talk about where he's at with the injury. This is like a 3-minute clip, a chunk from his press conference today, just the update on linebacker TJ Edwards.
Yeah, it's going really well. Feel great. I think, you know, it puts some things in perspective, right? When it first initially happened, just thought I just rolled my ankle, and then realized it was not that. But I feel great. Working really hard every day. Feel like I'm in a really good spot come summertime, and be ready to go out there with my teammates and things like that. But right now, kind of just, you know, doing what I can to stay in it. It's great to have everyone back here. You know, there's some cold days in Hallis Hall and you know, March and things like that when you're doing rehab and stuff. So to get everyone back in the building is awesome. Yeah.
What's your timeline looking like for getting back out there?
Yeah, I don't want to put, you know, a date on it or anything like that. But knowing me, I will push as hard as I can to move that as quickly as possible. But I also want to be smart about it too. You know, it is April, and you know, as hard as it is for me to not be out there every step of the way right now during phase 1, I know that I'm on a really good plan with the trainers, and I'll be ready when it's time to go, for sure.
Do you feel any sense of like doubt not from yourself, but like externally about maybe what you could return to and how that may go?
In terms of myself, you're saying?
Yeah. Do you have any external doubt about whether or not you can return to form, and do they need to ensure themselves in case you don't?
I mean, I feel like there's always been doubt. You know, I've been doubted my entire career, and that's just fine with me. And I feel like I thrive in that light, to be honest with you. That's kind of how it was my first couple years in the league, and then sustaining that is what I strive for. You know, so there's always going to be, right, like getting older, that type thing. All those things that I don't really pay much attention to. I know what I'm capable of. I know the player I am and what I bring to a team. So really to focus on me is being the best teammate I can be, and when I get back on the field doing what I do.
TJ, at the moment that the injury happened in January, how did you process it initially in terms of both the severity and obviously the stage you were playing on at the time that it happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think again that high intense moment, against Green Bay and all those things. Initially just thought, yeah, again, like I rolled it, but after just kind of going through it and feeling what I felt, obviously it wasn't that, but it hurts, man. It hurts to be knocked out of a game like that, and then to watch the playoff game the next week. Like that's right. That's why I came here 3 years ago, is being games like that. So it definitely stung, but again, right, it nothing I can do about it. Kind of one of those freak things that just happened, and what I'm excited about is I'll be able to get back to my form and be able to impact this team to go make another run.
Where were you when that Green Bay game finished?
I was in the locker room. Yeah, I wasn't leaving. Yeah, I had to watch, and I got to celebrate with the guys and all that, hopping around, which is probably not what I should have been doing, but just excited to be a part of it, man, because in this city, there's nothing better when the Bears are winning, right? And I feel like we gave it all this past year, to be in those type games, and just really, really happy to see it kind of pay off. And now it's taking that next step and going to prove everyone wrong again.
I'm glad he shared that at the end, because I remember thinking about that actually in the moment, about how you had a player that really couldn't enjoy such a huge victory for the franchise that he grew up loving. Like, this is a local kid. This is a bear. And he, got hurt in that game. And I'm like, he must be devastated about the injury. Like, that must be just a mix of emotions. So I'm glad to hear a few months later that he was like, no, I was hopping around and I was celebrating. He probably didn't know the extent of the injury maybe in that moment.
No, but
Although maybe because he probably went and got x-rays.
I mean, Lake Villa kid, right, who plays at Wisconsin, no, talked in the prior years, it absolutely kind of sucks that we grew up here and we were always talked about how bad the Bears are, and now I'm a part of the bad Bears. And finally we got the good Bears, and he's got to leave on a cart in the biggest game at Soldier Field in a decade plus. But great teammate, most likable guy going. Hope he gets healthy sooner than later, and it was good to hear him kind of give a positive update on that. Easy guy to root for.
So that's your veteran winner of the Brian Piccolo Award for the 3rd straight year. Coming up next, we'll talk about the rookie winner, because he was also impressive today. He's been impressive on the field, off the field. He's still extremely young. That's Colston Loveland. It's coming up next. But first,
shout out to our friends at Sunnyside Dispensary. They're here to elevate your baseball season, your playoff season. Sunnyside, your home, Adam Hogue, for judgment-free shopping. A crazy selection of 100 different strains to choose from. Something for everybody. Easy online ordering, in-store pickup. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has that location for you. And yes, we keep on telling you, as far down south as Champaign, as far as north as South Beloit, which is basically Wisconsin. Head to the website. That's the easiest way to do it. Only the best under the sun. And yes, you get 50% off your first 3 online purchases, 3 of them. Use that promo code HICHGO, HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Sunnyside Dispensary, only the best under the sun, and only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders. Shout out to our friends at Sunnyside. They've been with us a long time. We love them.
did you see Murakami hit that grand slam over the weekend?
And then he yelled Sunnyside?
No, but he probably yelled, go to Ray Chevrolet's Grand Slam savings event when he hit that Grand Slam. It's going on all month long, and this is your chance to hit it out of the park. Stop in today, drive home with $3,500 to $14,000 off MSRP on new Chevrolet models, or you can check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know that you're going to get a great deal. Plus, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you pay. I actually went through this last week. I was looking at a couple other websites, and they're just putting extra things in there that you don't qualify for. Ray doesn't do that. Go see for yourself. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. All right. We got a little bit more to get to, but I do want to make sure we're not really going anywhere for a while today. If you are a diehard, the second of 2 diehard Q&A chats with Fran Duffy, our draft expert across ALLCITY, is coming up at 2:30 in the diehard Discord. So be ready for that. You're also going to hear from Fran briefly on this show. That's going to be our overtime segment today. Greg Braggs had a chance to talk to him a little bit earlier today. So they pre-recorded that. We're going to have Fran on the show, and then that's going to kind of lead right into the diehard Discord. So if you are a diehard, you can be a part of that. If you want to get your questions into Fran and you're not a diehard, well, sign up right now. What are you doing? JAHNS. You get $36 for the whole year. You get the whole draft guide, which alone is probably worth like 3 times as much as that price. You get a free t-shirt when you sign up. You get all of our diehard content, including tomorrow's mock draft that Jahns and I will have. Carm's grades during the season. Are you going to grade the draft too?
Maybe I'll grade the draft.
Grade the draft. I just accidentally gave you more work to do.
Can't wait. Let's go. Grade the draft.
Scan that QR code. Sign up right now. And if you sign up, you can join the Discord and be part of that Q&A coming up here at 2:30 with Fran. You'll also hear him on the show here shortly. The rookie winner of the Brian Piccolo Award, Colston Loveland. And
he had like a note card of what he was talking about that looked like the size of, I don't know, like a Ritz cracker was in his hand.
He maybe had it folded up or something.
He had like 4 words to cue what he wanted to say. And other than that, the dude was impressive up there.
I like that, though. I have respect for somebody who can give a speech with just bullet points.
Right.
And just kind of run off the bullet points. That's a sign of, and I'll say this, Ted Albrecht, our friend who does, he's a radio analyst for Northwestern football, former Bear, Piccolo Award winner, which is why we always see him at the award ceremony every year. I think it's really cool that he and other former Piccolo Award winners come back every single year. But he turned to us when when the ceremony was over, and like, that guy's really impressive.
He really was.
I mean, he is. He's still young. Colston Loveland, hell of a rookie year, extremely talented on the field. I can tell you, like, you just feel it throughout the building. The Bears just feel like they hit a massive home run with Colston Loveland. Like,
Ben looks at him like he's his son. Poles looks at him like he's his son. Everybody, like, people love Loveland. You are our tight end. That song should be sweeping the nation. I don't know why it isn't, because
you need to put out an album officially.
I do.
You need to put out like the Taylor Swift album that you couldn't even figure out was an actual record. You need to do that.
Now I got it.
Why don't you have a record cover like that one?
Now we got you have it like slightly open today, and we're getting a little look at
kind of torturing you a little bit.
Yeah, we got the Taylor rear coming right at my face. I can't focus with that.
She's taken by Travis. Sorry.
I mean, these things never last. I could get in there. Me and Taylor doing duets late at night. Can you imagine?
That's what she wants.
I would never. Jaqueline for life.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
And you love Loveland.
And I love Colston Loveland.
Colston Loveland. Hear from him right now.
I think we got weapons all over. I mean, I know we got weapons all over. So obviously losing DJ, that hurts. He's, good for him. He's in a situation now. But we got we got Rome, Lou, Khalid. We got guys that can go out there and make a play at any time. So, whether I got to take more load or whatever. Maybe some games I take more or they take more. Some games, it's just how it goes. You kind of play it by ear. So the best thing is to always be ready. Always be ready to take a load if you need a load, and do what you're told and do what you're asked, and things will be good. Yeah, man, I wouldn't want it any other way. Obviously, it means I'm doing something right. Got to continue to do that. But like I said, we got weapons. So whether you want to focus in on one dude or not, there's weapons all over. So.
You talked about having a full off season, about the comfort event system. And what's that all going to equate to for you individually in terms of your second season and what you can do?
Yeah, man. Like I said last year, like I've always said, whatever I can do to help the team win, that's the biggest thing, man. Wins, especially in this league, I've learned obviously last year, anything to get a win, whatever I'm asked to do, whatever my teammates are asked to do, we're all on the same page as far as getting a win. With team, said it before, with team success comes individual success. So that should be the main worry.
Caleb was saying yesterday that the exciting part is that you and Luther and you're going to be with him for years.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you see that growth kind of already starting? And you let yourself dream 2, 3, 4 years ahead. What it may look like.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see what it may look like, but man, we're here in the present. We're worried about this off season. Then training camp, then the season. It's cool to think about it, but things don't always go as planned, So let's take it day by day, one foot in front of the other, and really lock in with who we have now, what team we have, unify together, build this culture, and go out and win games.
So, Carm, I don't mean to do the whole I've been covering this team for this long. I don't really like being that guy.
You
might not.
Go ahead.
I have never heard a team on point with the coach's message as much as I've already heard in the last 2 days from the players that we've heard from. Like, they are, it has given me a lot of confidence already in 2 days that there is not going to be, you can't guarantee that there's not necessarily regression in the wins-loss record or things like that, but they are so in tune with what Ben Johnson is trying to already get through to them about how last year was last year, and you might have a great future too, and all these weapons and all. And Colston Loveland's like, we're locked in right now, and for one of the rookies to be that on point with it too, it speaks volumes to where he could be headed in year 2 in terms of the production and everything. But it's very. The bar is not very high, I know, with all the coaches that I've covered in my time, but it's a pretty low bar. But it feels like Ben Johnson is just like doing cartwheels over that bar with the way that this team is following him right now going into year 2.
Yeah, it would have been really hard to be on point with the hits philosophy and whatever Fox was doing here. Shout out John Fox. We had a good time with him down in Indy. But yeah, man, Ben is driving and they are right behind him. And Colston, I mean, that guy is just locked in. There was whoever said it, I think it was Ben, that that Colston had been in at Hallis working out all off season, putting on the weight. So I asked him about it. Has he been lifting more? And he's threw in that I couldn't lift last year, so yes, I am lifting more. But it just seems like this
Great
guy
answer.
Yeah, I mean, right. It was really somehow I could have phrased that one better again. Add that one to the list. But look, like, this is someone who finished on a high point last year to end the season, and now it just seems like he's just building on it and like ready to rock and roll. Let's go. Football, football, football. And for everybody who commented in the chat about loads, that's immature, and you need to focus on.
Right. And you're not just talking about Steven.
No, not just Steven or myself and everybody else in the media when he said that, and then he doubled down on it multiple times. But that's why he's our leader, and he's and our tight end 1. Damn it, let's go.
I'm very excited about Colston Loveland, and I really truly think he can be one of the best tight ends in the entire game, if not the best eventually.
Well, the maturity today,
it might happen. I know that's the thing. The maturity is there. It might happen very fast, especially with the way last season ended.
I mean, yeah.
And he was critical of himself today for the end of the season. He was saying about some of the technique and when he got tired at the end of the year, at the end of games, and at the end of the year. I remember asking him like sometime in December if he felt like he was feeling the rookie wall at all. And it's kind of funny to hear him talk about that in hindsight as being something he was battling through at the end of games, being tired, trying to keep that the technique and all the details and the fundamentals 100%. Because meanwhile, he was effing dominating.
He turned 22 years old on April the 9th. Outside of the fact that he's dominating everything you're lining up, what were you? You were a very mature Hogue at 22. But for most of us,
you knew me when I was 22.
I did. But
I'm 40, by the way.
Yeah. For most of us at 22, like at 22 years old, I was missing class, carrying around a 2-foot apparatus in my car and a tennis racket cover, and playing basketball at the field house at the University of Iowa. This dude is coming up there with a note card that has 3 words on it, holding press conference at the Piccolo Awards like a complete professional, catching balls all over, making millions of dollars, and just showing the maturity of a 68-year-old. It's pretty impressive.
By the way, that reminds me of your very nice birthday
40
wish to me the other day. But there was one thing that even Krista pointed out, because I think you said like over the last like 9-10 years that you've known me or something like that. And I wanted to be like, try 18 years, buddy.
18.
They're flying by.
Yeah, it's almost over. The amount of gray hair on this head and everywhere else. It's unfortunate, but good to be on the journey with you, buddy.
All right. All right. As we get closer to overtime, and speaking of Braggs, don't let us get to the point where Braggs is going to start threatening you to come to the draft party. So this is not a threat. This is me kindly asking you that if you do not have plans this weekend and you would like to celebrate the next great bear, the next Colston Loveland that's coming through the draft pipeline this weekend, Thursday, April 23rd, Friday, April 24th. It's all coming up this week. That's $10 to get in. It's a great venue. Joe's on Wheat Street. It's our favorite place to be at. We're going to be in the main big room on Thursday. Everybody's going to be there. Lance Briggs, Corey Wooten, Jerry Azuma, our whole crew. It's going to be lots of fun. It's just $10 to get in. If you want to add the drink package onto that, it's $65, which is also a great deal for a full night of hanging out. Make sure you get those designated drivers if you're going that route. Thank you for IDOT for sponsoring the entire party. And then Friday is I actually like Friday better. So if it's Friday night, there's live music after the show. The Bears have multiple picks They'll probably trade a few times. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, come both nights, and night one's fun. Or even like worst case scenario, Bears trade out when they're on the clock. It's still going to be a fun night just to be hanging out with a lot of like-minded Bears fans like you. It's just fun being in the room with just all the excitement for.
And become a diehard because you get 20% off all the time, all of our events. Become a diehard and whatnot. JAHNS. Scan that code right now. It's just $36. And you get the entire draft guide as well as we head to overtime. You ready for overtime?
I want to be celebrated. I didn't say a word leading
you
into
were
that.
About to, though.
I wasn't. I had it the whole way. And and even
we
in
got
here,
there. We finally did it.
I think I mean, I had to think about it. It wasn't completely natural, but I was pretty confident that we're on remote. I can't say nothing.
You got it.
Yeah,
we did it.
Let's go, Gregory.
Great job. All right. Well, while we were at Hallis today, putting together and trying to cover all the stuff that was happening, it's been a busy couple of days. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed the coverage. If you have, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you're here for the first time. I should have said that earlier on in the show. Steven doing a great job behind the scenes producing as always. Greg Braggs has been helping a ton too, getting some of those clips ready, dominating social media. And he also had the opportunity to talk to Fran Duffy one last time on the show before the draft. We'll hear from Fran throughout the weekend as the draft's going on, but this is the last chance to hear from Fran. As he will also be doing the Die Hard Q&A here in about 28 minutes from now. Before we get there, let's hear from Gregory P. Allen Braggs and Fran Duffy.
We are here with ALLCITY draft expert. That's right. It's Fran Duffy, as we are just 2 days away from the NFL draft. Finally here. I know it's been a lot of hard work for you on your end, Fran, and it's been greatly appreciated, all the diehards out there. If you haven't become a diehard at this point, you've missed out on quite a bit, but you still have a chance. If you sign up, you can get the draft guide just 2 days away with just a complete inventory of how many different players do you got in there that are logged and cataloged?
I mean, logged and cataloged, it's like, it's hundreds, like close to 1,000, written up like full reports, like, pluses and minuses and trying, the full scouting reports, close to 300. So that's how many are like graded with the full reports. But yeah, there's a lot of names in the Die Hard draft guide.
And this is something that is consistently updated every day. Are you done? Is it finalized, or do you still have updates over the next 2 days?
Look, if I'm sitting here and I've got 90 minutes in between shows or something like that, I'm like, oh, let me watch this day 3 guy that I haven't done yet. That maybe I saw him at an all-star game. I watched him at the combine, but didn't get the full film work done. I'll buzz through that and add it in there. So yeah, that might be the case on like Thursday morning. That's the beauty of the living and breathing version of that document.
Yeah, and it's very helpful, very useful, especially on draft night. So it's even more of a reason. Go to allchgo.com/diehard to sign up, to gain access, including exclusive written content from Jahns, Hogue, Carm, Patrick Norton, the whole deal. And of course, use that code JAHNS to become a diehard. The reason we're on here is because just like 2 weeks ago, we are going to be doing another Discord Q&A, and that's exclusive to diehards only. That's coming up immediately after this show here at 2:30 p.m. Central. Last time we had a pretty big crowd. We went for an hour. All the diehards got as many questions as they want in, from first round questions all the way to the 6th, 7th round. Fran has the whole inventory and database right in front of them, just spewing out information. So become a diehard. QR code here on your screen. Once again, use that code Jahns, and you can jump in and join the discussion and get some inside information from Fran, because he's doing the work at the bowl games. He's doing the work at the combine. He's doing the work year round, talking to scouts, agents, coaches, schools, players, you name it. And that's how you get kind of the behind the scenes. It's one thing to watch guys on tape. It's another thing to learn about the person too. And Fran's covering both sides of the aisle in that regard. So one thing I kind of wanted to bring to you, Fran, that kind of was brought up in our last Discord Q&A that I thought would be good for today's show. and kind of bring it to the rest of the public, was your explanation of how draft boards look. Because I think it's always a buzzword every time of year, but best player available with the Bears really seems to be holding serve with the 25th pick, with so many questions from safety to defensive line to offensive line to corner. And there's just so many different options, and you just don't know how the draft is going to fall to them to 25. So best player available keeps coming up. That being said, I think you kind of offered some clarity on exactly what a best player available board looks like, because it's not exactly 1 through 10, and you had more of a horizontal and a vertical version of what said board would look like. So I was wondering if maybe you could fill in the rest of the public on kind of how that looks for teams.
Yeah, I think the big thing, we all think of like best player available on a board, and we think of everybody in the media when they put out their big boards, right? And so we think of it as a vertical, like just one column, and it's player 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just go down the list. That is, while teams will have that board, a vertical board, teams almost universally operate, because I don't want to speak for all 32. I don't know exactly how all 32 teams do it, but I would say, like, off the conversations that over the years that I've had, is that you operate off a horizontal board. And so if you go into any of the boards that I've published from my work over, if you become a diehard, you'll see that I use the horizontal board, where it's each position has its own column, and you have all the tiers going down. And some teams it's a number grade, some teams it's label. So it might be, hey, like all pro, Pro Bowl level, solid starter, quality backup, role player, down to, all the way down the list to camp body, right? So you have all of your tiers, you have all of your positions. And then what happens is when you say best player available, for what most teams really mean by that, I don't want to speak universally, but for what most teams mean by that is best player available at an area of position, at an area of need, right? And so you say, like, all right, well, we have equal grades on a running back and on a pass rusher. So, the pass rusher, if you're a team that believes that, hey, we want to go the premium position here, you're going to go towards the pass rusher. Even if the running back has a higher grade and would be higher on the vertical board, on that one column board, if they are on the same bucket and the same tier, even if the pass rusher has a lower grade, we're going to go there. Now, if the running back is in a tier all by himself, well, now that's when the running back is actually the best player available on the board, right? And so, I would say that most teams operate from that way. And, to me, it's very illustrative when we see all these access pieces around, post-draft. So in the weeks, it's the weeks to come as we see, and the Bears do a great job of releasing this stuff. I actually remember last year, Ryan Poles, it was the early on the day 3 version of that video, and he said, like, ideally, we come out of this draft, and, it was like, a running back, a guard. He went through, like, listing 3 or 4 positions early on in the day, and it literally spelled out exactly like the positions they addressed. Now, if you are just going off of a vertical board, the chances of him going, hitting royal flush there and knowing exactly which positions he was going to address, slim to none, right? But if you're operating off a horizontal board, now the grades are much more dispersed, and you can say, all right, yeah, like, who are the best players available at each of these spots as we go down through the rest of the draft? Now that really kind of illustrates how these teams are going to go about their business.
And as we bring Steven in here to the discussion, as we got a few more minutes, and once again, join our Discord Q&A here coming up in just a few minutes at 2:30 p.m. Central. Become a diehard. You have access to that Discord. You can ask questions directly to Fran yourself. I guess then my question before I throw it to Steven is, with that being said, and understanding, hey, this is positions of value, this is how the board fell to us, but I'm trying to hit that royal flush later in the draft, but there's risk to it because you don't know who's going to be there in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. What would you identify is the bigger, hey, if this guy's here at 25, this position's here at 25, we need to take it because I can't trust that I'm going to be able to get that in the 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round of what I'm looking for, and I'm going to itemize just defensive tackle and defensive end. If both are there at 25, what is the bigger risk to pass on? Because later in the draft, you might be left with nothing in your hand.
I think it does depend on the specific skill set at defensive tackle. If you're saying like penetrating, like pass rush focused defensive tackle, like a Peter Woods type, then I think that's the answer. Just because I think that though there's not much depth in that specific archetype in this year's draft. If we are more talking like a Kayden McDonald run stuffing defensive tackle, I think there are more of those guys available. And so I kind of push that one off to the side. And then also like in terms of player, premium position value, things like that, I think that's an archetype that I'd push down that list anyway. Edge rusher is one of the deeper positions in this draft, but because of what we know, like the boom, if you could find a good pass rusher, like that is a quality asset for your roster. And so I would honestly put that at the top of the list, just because if you have a shot at one and one's there for you and you have him graded equally with the, we'll say Peter Woods, then I think that's probably the area I'd go. I will say like how I envision the board going. If Peter Woods is available at 25, I find it hard to believe that he would not be the best player available for the Bears. So that one, it will be interesting to kind of track here.
Well, that's exactly where I was about to go with this, because I'm coming around to the idea of Peter Woods being the best player available if he's there for the Bears at 25. And how often do you get the best player at his position at pick 25? He's defensive tackle 1. So let's just say you just talked Bears fans into Peter Woods. Who are some teams drafting before the Bears that could end those dreams and get him first?
I would say the teams I would look at as I'm going through the draft order here, Pittsburgh at 21 is one I would look at. I think that the offensive tackle and wide receiver are possibilities there for them. But if wide receiver kind of dries up, they've got a lot of picks. They might also say like, hey, you know what? Like let's maybe we'll wait on receiver. But I would say Pittsburgh would be the absolute high point, is what I've heard for Peter Woods as I go down. Chargers. Potentially, I could see Peter Woods ending up with the Chargers at 22. I don't think he'd end up at Philly at 23. Cleveland, just because they took Mason Graham last year, I don't think they would go back-to-back there. And so I don't think that they would go. So I think those are the spots that if you want Peter Woods, eye on Pittsburgh, definitely an eye on Chargers. And those would be the two. If he doesn't go to either one of those two spots, I think he's on the board there for the Bears.
Certainly will be interesting. You got anything else, Stephen, before we cut him loose, and we're going to bring him back here in a little bit?
I'll give him one more before we go.
There we go.
My last time I get to talk before the draft, Fran, we're going to take advantage of it here. So I keep seeing Keldrick Falk slipping in mock drafts now. I just looked some at 15 in the most recent one I looked at. Let's say he somehow falls all the way to 25. He's not regarded as the best pass rusher, but he is really good against the run. With pass rusher being the biggest need for the Bears, is he even a good fit if he were to slip?
Slam dunk. I think it would be a great fit. I think he's a great fit for Dennis Allen. I think it would be I think to me, like that would be, in my opinion, one of the best case scenarios for the Chicago Bears. And honestly, there aren't a lot of mock drafts out there for like connecting Falk to the Bears. We've seen a couple in the last few weeks. I've got a consensus mock draft that'll be coming out here for diehards here in the next, we'll say the next day. I don't want to say exactly when it's going to be, just because I'm waiting to try and get as many of these final mock drafts in there as possible. But we have seen Falk connected to the Bears recently. I think that would be a slam dunk selection there for Chicago.
I guess my final one, I've started to circle around. I've been tunnel vision to offensive line.
Yeah.
But I have started to circle around to the idea that Caleb Lomu would be the pick at 25. But after running through some mock drafts last night with our guy Shane, he keeps coming off the board before 25.
Yep.
Does that surprise you? Does it feel like he's been getting some momentum here in the last few weeks?
I've heard conflicting things. I actually think that there's a chance that he is the tackle at the top that could fall out just because of lack of experience. I think he's a little scheme specific. I don't know that he's like a perfect like Ben Johnson type. I think left tackle only, which that makes sense with what they've got on the roster, but not known as like glass eater, like toughness at the point of attack, like that. He's not like that level of physical specimen, that type of player. So to me, I think he could be on the board. The team that he's been most connected to has been San Francisco, which is obviously after the Bears pick. So yeah, I think he definitely could be there and potentially in play for the Bears.
Okay, then I'll give you 3 offensive line names, and I'll tell you to pick one if that was the pick at 25 for the Bears. You got Caleb Lomu, Ahanachor from Arizona State, and then you've got Blake Miller. Who you taking?
I would take personally Ahanachor, and I think based off what we know from Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, I think they would probably lean Ahanachor as well. Just grade the flashes. I think he's got the highest upside of the group. I think he's got more tools to be able to work with. He's a little bit older, but to me, he's probably the most physical of the group in terms of like the raw power that he's got, the heavier hands. Blake Miller, I think, is their type as well. but not necessarily a physical specimen that Ihanichor is. I'd probably stack it that way: Ihanichor, Miller, and then Lomu.
And Poles was at Ihanichor's pro day too, so he had a firsthand look.
Yep. All right. Well, there's going to be much deeper analysis taking place here in just a few minutes on our Die Hard Q&A Discord, and featuring Fran Duffy. So make sure you become a Die Hard and you get much deeper into this draft from the second round and beyond. It's not all about the first round as much as that really kind of paints the picture for how the rest of the draft will fall. So you kind of need that first domino to give a better idea, but at the same time, there's plenty more rounds to discuss, and Fran has all the information needed for you. So once again, head to allchgo.com/diehard or use the QR code here on your screen. Use the code Jahns, and that'll get you $36 for the entire year. That gets you a free shirt as soon as you sign up, access to the draft guide. That'll get you exclusive written content from Jahns, Hogue, Carm, Patrick Norton. They're all there today. Obviously, Ryan Poles, Jeff King, the whole bit. Everybody's working hard at Hallis Hall. So you're going to get write-ups from them as well throughout the summer, seeing how these guys look at minicamp and OTAs. So plenty of reasons to become a diehard, but most importantly for right now, to get in on this draft and get in with Fran Duffy coming up here on our Discord coming up in just a few minutes. So appreciate your time, Fran. Look forward to talking to you here soon.
Yep. See you guys in a few minutes.
Thank you, Gregory, and thank you, Fran. And have you thought about becoming a diehard? I don't think we've mentioned it enough on this show.
We have perhaps overcooked the ham, as Gregory likes to say, on becoming a diehard, but become a diehard. And listen, Fran is the most inclusive guy ever coming up here. So if you have literally any draft question about any player in the draft, he will answer it for you. And
I think this went like an hour last time. So
it was an hour. I don't know what the plan is for today. Half hour, 6 hours. I'm assuming Braggs will be in there moderating. I will be in there in the background, making sure that everybody behaves. So
good. We need that.
13 minutes from now.
All right. The Iceberg has our one and only super chat to share. It's his free super chat because he is a YouTube member, which is also an option for you. The Iceberg says, here's a shout out to Adam Hogue for introducing me to the Yuka app. Nothing like making a quick trip to the store for an onion and have it take 95 minutes because my wife and I start scanning everything. Thanks, Adam.
It's a great job by the Iceberg.
You saw me use the Yuka app this morning.
I did. It's your egg, whatever you had. It was
it's like egg white wrap is what my wife bought. And I was like, I doubted it. I was like, I think this is a 24 out of 100. It turned out to be 78.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
And when I now know that Spindrift, when I drink it, is great because of the Yuka app. Yeah. I would also like to point out that the Iceberg, unlike the Iceman George Gervin, has not had any issues with Caleb Trend, going for trademark. The Iceberg hasn't said anything.
No, but I do think he's in a battle with the Iceberg that took down the Titanic. They're having a little bit of a legal.
The Titanic's coming for the Iceberg?
Well, the Titanic's grounded. That Iceberg and our Iceberg, they're the ones feuding.
Is that Iceberg?
It's a selfish iceberg out there in the Atlantic Ocean.
Has that iceberg not melted yet? This iceberg's never going to melt.
Not
you can bring all the global warming you want. This iceberg's going to be, he's standing the test of time.
All right. Well, speaking of global warming, we both need to check out our individual flooding situations.
Can't wait. Let's flood it up. The Des Plaines River, you need to chill out.
Carver and I drove together today. By the way, thanks for the ride. I think I might take advantage of that more often. I was very productive on my 17-minute drive to and from Hallis Hall today. But we took a right-hand turn towards the north, and there was more rain.
Yeah.
And we both went, oh, no.
Well, listen, Carm Uber I thought I did a pretty good job today. I appreciate it. I mean, Hogue made out great bacon and eggs to start the day. He had the paper out for me. I thought that Phil Thompson did a great job with the Mamba mentality, underlining that. Take that, John Greenberg.
The Iceberg said, hey, that damn boat hit me, which is a fair point.
You were just hanging out, dude.
You weren't moving. It's a good point. All right, we got to get out of here and get over to that Die Hard Discord. Come join us. Otherwise, tomorrow, we will not have a full show tomorrow. We're going to take a little bit of a break because we're going to get you on the back end Saturday with an extra show. However, we will have a mini pod coming out tomorrow on YouTube and on your podcast feeds. We're going to talk to Jimbo Covert, who is announcing the draft picks for the Bears on Friday in Pittsburgh. Hall of Famer, left tackle, great dude, great interview every time I've ever had a chance to talk to him. So that'll be a special treat tomorrow. And then we will be back on Thursday, 7 o'clock. It is the official draft show. Come on out. Join us on Joe's and Weed. But if you're not going to be there, you know where to be, right here watching us live throughout the draft. It will be a live draft party and watch along for those of you that are not there. So make sure you're there. All right. We're out.
Great time today. I'd like to thank Camp Nebagamon water bottle. While we were doing the Gregory interview, I had a massive cramp all over my right leg. And it's because I lost last night to my nemesis, and it's still paying today. So, Hogue, that was a good moment to not have on the show. And it was great to be
almost with took out that Dan Hampton jersey behind us at one point.
I gotta get out of this house. Bad things are happening. It was great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Jimbo Covert tomorrow, draft show Thursday. Talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.